of the universe inside of me. Help me beat the shit out of my ego, please.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to This Week in Indies. I'm your host, Joe Compton. Thank you so much for joining us. It is February 28th. Can you believe it? We're almost into March. It's crazy. With that being said, you all voted earlier this week about what movie you wanted me to review, so you get what you asked for. Here's my review, and then we'll be back with the roundtable discussion. We have a really good discussion this week, so stick around. Don't let my terrible review deter you from watching any further, all right? What if you woke up to the realization one day that there's another you out there? And worse yet, they're your neighbor. Or maybe you feel like they're just imitating you, mimicking you. All the while, they may just be trying to understand you, feel what you feel, kind of relate to what you're going through. That's the motivation that drives the two main characters in Thomas Mazzotti's The Mimic, which I'm about to review for you right now. All right, The Mimic. Here's the synopsis. Based on a true story, this feature follows the main character, the narrator, Thomas Sadowski, who is befriended by his young new neighbor, the Kid, after he joins the local newspaper team. Obsessed with the idea that the Kid may be a sociopath, the narrator goes to extreme lengths to uncover the truth about him and his wife, who he ultimately begins to fancy. Between long walks down the street, a twisted dinner date, and a car drive gone terribly wrong, the narrator gets closer and closer to the truth about the Kid. But the truth, as he finds, is anything what he expected it to be. Right off the bat, you get the sense that this is going to be a frantic-paced movie, that you are in for a very sarcastic and snarky experience. So if you like that kind of humor, if like a Woody Allen film, or I compared it most recently to How to Kill Your Neighbor's Dog, which starred Kenneth Branagh. Those kind of films where there's this banter back and forth and it is witty and it is intelligent humor, you're probably going to enjoy this film for what it is. Sadowski is somebody you would recognize pretty easily. He's been on The Newsroom. He's been on Life in Pieces. That was his show on CBS. And, of course, tons and tons of movies like Wild and the like. Jake Robinson's a newer actor. He's been in some stuff, but he really is new to the scene, and he really breaks out in this film. This film is also littered with almost like guest starring supporting roles. Like they all have a role in playing how the story pivots, turns, twists. Folks like Mary Lou Henner, Gina Gershon, Austin Pendleton, Emmett Walsh. These are all incredible actors that you would recognize in an instant and know, and they all lend a helping hand to getting this story fluid and moving. Sadowski and Robinson, it's very evident from the word go, from the first time that they start to interact, that they have magnetic chemistry, that they hit every mark, that the two of them playing off of each other is the best choice the director could make. And it is fantastic to watch. It is a tennis match among tennis matches. You are seeing a lot of this through the narrator's point of view, but that helps to kind of make it more absurd. It kind of lends itself to the right direction that you want to go in this film. The problem with this film, I find, with a lot of these films, it trips over itself a little bit. It takes the jokes too far, and then the joke becomes pretty much the same joke over and over again. And that's the hard part about this film. But the film moves so fast, and it has such great franticness. And again, Robinson and Sadowski sell you on everything. And there's enough nuggets that Mazzotti's script feeds you at pivotal times to keep you engaged and moving. This is a really, really good film. It is probably, I would say, around a 7 or 8, 4 stars. And that's where I would probably rate it, depending on what site I was on rating it. And again, you'll laugh. If you love sarcastic, snarky humor, you'll laugh and you'll enjoy it. And that's the bottom line, right? This movie is available on VOD right now, so you can go to Amazon Prime, get it. I think it's $3.99 to purchase right now, and then iTunes and Google Play, anywhere you get your movies, Vudu, wherever you might find your fix for films. This is if you're looking for a really good snarky laugh, you just want somebody who's going to make you feel better. Sadowski will do that. Robinson will do that. This film will do that. And I think you might enjoy it. And it's worth the $3.99 for that reason. All right, guys. Remember that it's always time to go indie now. And we'll see you on the other side. All right. And so I hope everybody goes and checks out The Mimic. You wanted me to review it, so there you go. There's my thoughts on it. Now we're going to have other people speak finally. Thank you, hopefully. And welcome to the Roundtable discussion. As always, I'm Joe Compton, and as always, I'm joined by the cream of the crop, the creme de la creme, the amazing group that I have here, the wonderful people that, I'm lucky and fortunate to know and be a part of what we do. So let's have them introduce themselves, because that would be great. And I think it would be amazing to know who they are, especially since we have a new folk with us today. So, but we'll start with the veterans. I'm just going to go down the line. So, Nikki, start us off.
Oh, hi. I'm Nikki Nelson-Hicks. I write a lot of weird fiction, pulp stuff. Jake Ishinheji, The Accidental Detective, is a pulp noir thing set in the 1930s in New Orleans. I got some Sherlock Holmes. Pretty much I write whatever you give me a contract for. I'm kind of a whore like that. Lately, my latest thing out is an anthology of horror stories called Stone Baby. Whoosh, Stone Baby. And that's pretty much about it. I'm working on a little story right now set in 1908, Appalachian death folklore. So that's what I'm working on right now. I'm down the deep rabbit hole right now and a lot of Appalachian death folklore. So it makes for difficult dinner conversation.
Awesome.
It does. I'm sorry. I'm so into all the death right now. It's like, did you know that sometimes lice and fleas come off of a corpse as they're cooling? Get away from me. Go away. I'm sorry. So
this is how you can tell the people you don't need to be having dinner with.
Oh, my family's used to it.
Know that the lice and the things come off the corpse? Pass the potatoes, please.
Yeah. No. Oh my God. Shut up, Mom. Shut up. So yeah.
Nice. Welcome. It's nice to have you here again. All right, Richard.
You're muted. He's muted.
That's all right. I was lip syncing. Can you hear me now?
I hear you now.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Richard White. You can find me at authorrichardwhite.com. Mostly write poetry, but I'm also a crime mystery connoisseur, I guess. And I'm in school right now to get a bachelor's in English and creative writing to become an editor.
You did it a lot faster than I thought you would. All right.
Oh, you want me to keep going?
It's funny because I'm like, I bring you all on the screen so that nobody can see that I'm promoting while we're in the background and everything like that. But but that's all right. Welcome, Richard. It's nice to have you. Thank you, sir, for being here. I really appreciate it. And Richard and Jim are here for not only because I enjoy their company and want their opinions, which I do, and I'm always welcoming to them being on the show, but they're here for a specific reason that we'll get to a little bit later on today. So continuing, Miss Allegra, why don't you say hello and tell everybody about yourself?
Hi, folks. I am Allegra Pescatore. I write books in both the fantasy genre and the sci-fi genre that all contain some kind of disabled protagonist. That's kind of my shtick. My stories tend to be a bit humorous, a bit dark, all sorts of wacky and interconnected. And I also am on YouTube as Plot Mom and run a big whole writing Discord server and do a lot of classes and fun interwriter shenanigans.
Nice. Awesome. Welcome. Thank you for being here again. It's nice to have you. Nice to see you. All right. I wish I could say the same about the next person, but
yeah, he's
it's
not
always
going to
nice
go short.
It's always nice to see Mr. Jim Ellis, especially when he has a haircut. That's pretty cool. I was trying to mention off the air, but everybody was talking.
No, he cut his hair.
Yeah. Yep. He's
Finally
done
broke
something
down.
that I haven't done yet, which is cut my hair. So congratulations, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, I finally broke down after a year, and I now have my own gray tribble. So that's what's left over from just whipping out the shears, and I had to go to the sheep farm across the street and just get them to kind of pare me down a little bit. But yeah, so the fur is gone, but the fun part is now. There's just kind of a faux hawk that wants to stand up the middle, but that's needed. So I'm Jim Nettles. I write science fiction, fantasy, urban fantasy, bit of horror. Got some techno thriller stuff coming out. Also write nonfiction. I write a lot of business, technology, privacy articles, stuff like that. I'm the author of Business Essentials for Writers. I teach workshops on it. I founded Author Essentials, which is both a services company and an education company for authors. I run all the tech for Continual, and you see me over at continualconvention.com. Occasionally they let me crawl out from from behind the control booth. And then we're here for this other, not so super secret thing, but we'll talk about that later.
Awesome. Cool. All right. And last but certainly not least, a newcomer to our midst, and I'm real excited. And I just want to mention real quickly before Sarah introduces herself, I was on her website earlier. It's fantastic. Your covers are phenomenal. I mean, they're really beautiful. And
thank you.
The colors that you use on your palette is very cool. So I think everybody out there will dig it. So after the show, definitely go check out S.E.N. Anderson's stuff because I think it's pretty cool. So with that being said, I don't know how you're going to follow that intro, Sarah, but welcome.
I was just worried about that. I'm blushing now. I don't know how to introduce myself. So hi, everyone. I'm S.E. Anderson, Sarah Anderson. I am an astrophysicist by day and author by night. I know that sounds backwards, but until I finish my doctorate, that's how it is. I write young adult humor sci-fi, so Starstruck being the first book of that series.
Nice.
And book 7 comes out in just 9 days. March 8th. I'm freaking out. And also recently released, part of the publishing crew behind this anthology called Unbound, YA stories from every genre, and they're all connected by the theme of transformation, love, and monsters. I'm really excited about this one, so I wanted to share it all with you guys. And I guess that's all about me.
Great. Nice. I hate to do this to you, but you brought something up. So I want to start with you in this conversation today. But I don't normally do that to the newbie. But you brought up the fact that you're just releasing a book. Did you write this during COVID time?
I did. Yes, I did. When I found the experience of writing a book at the beginning of COVID and a whole year later to be very different. So that's going to probably come up as we're chatting. But the resolve and the creativity is just... yeah.
So that's what we're talking about today, everybody. I don't know if anybody out there in the chat got a chance to read the article that I was sent. This has actually been a topic that has been brought up a few times by fans and people who've asked me to talk about it. And I've kind of always been a little reluctant about it because it's so talked about. You know, I mean, it's the thing that we all, you know, face. That and imposter syndrome, I think, are the two things that I think are often talked about on these kind of panel shows and things like that. And so, but this article kind of brought up an interesting take on it, and it was a kind of a different look at it. And it was about, you know, how creativity is kind of waned in the aftermath of what we've been experiencing, and how it kind of just set up this malaise. And so, you know, I was going to let Sarah talk a little bit about how she got through that, obviously, in creating her book. If you don't mind, Sarah, would you like to talk about that to start us off a little bit, and kind of go through the motion of how you know, did it without, you know, with all the stuff that was going on in our world?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, these books, the one I started writing last March and the one that I've been working on since the beginning of December, the experience has been very different. So back in March of last year, lockdown, I'm working from home, haven't seen a human being in 30 days. I used writing as my therapy. And really, it was like, if I don't do this, then what am I doing? It kept me centered, it kept me grounded, and it kept me sane. And I just wrote. And I finished the draft of that book in less than 20 days. It was intense. It was a really wonderful experience. But then things started to get COVID-y. And more and more time that is spent without people, the less my inspiration came to me. And especially since my books are humor, and they're based on the fact that we live in this chaotic universe, and we need to fight it with this unrelenting joy and humor. And as things started to become more chaotic, I found it impossible to write about chaos because nothing felt more chaotic than what we were living. I couldn't come up with anything. And so for this book that I've been working on since the beginning of December, it has been almost a chore to bring myself to the keyboard. And I have to let myself have larger windows of time because I don't get in the zone as much as I used to. And it just feels like there's not much we can do to revive this creativity except push yourself into gear by just, you know, if you're a car and you're stalled, you got to roll it down that hill until it picks up motion and momentum. And that's where I'm at right now. So it's been really unsettling to feel the difference between writing these two books because it just felt like it came so much easier. Back last year, I had so much anger, so much stuff to put on the page. But now, as probably all of you have been feeling, this wearing down of motivation, it is just a bigger struggle. But it's happening. I think we just need to be kinder to ourselves and accept the fact that it's not going to be as great as we expect on the first time, and take the time we need to get it there.
Awesome. I love that. My favorite monster, time. You know, that guy likes to sit on my shoulder and just beat me up. You know? So how about for everybody else? Well, you know, Nikki, you seem like a never-ending train. You just keep, you know, chugging along and putting stuff out there and just moving along, and it's I mean, it's just super impressive what you do.
It shouldn't be really. It's when I first started this, when we first shut down and I was stuck at home, I would do my day job at home. I decided, okay, I've got this time. So what I did was I was always going to go back and redo the J.K. Shinheji stuff and re-edit and reformat and get it more streamlined and put them out as an omnibus. So I did. I worked on that. And then I started working on some other things, new things. But I really couldn't get the train off the station. So I started, okay, fine, screw it. I'll just go to some old stuff and play with some old stuff. So I've really been going back and revamping a lot of stuff that I've just had sitting around, projects and things that I've just been needing to get to. But now that I'm done with that, now I've got 3 projects that I want to work on. 3 of them. They're all new. There's nothing behind them. So I picked Crown of Feathers, and although I have a few things on Crown of Feathers that I was working on before, but I started writing it, and I was writing it like a pantser. I'm just I'm using the stuff I used in the back, I used before, and I got stuck, and I'm just writing, and it was like, this isn't going anywhere. I'm just going. I had to stop it and realize that this story was just floundering. And the reason it was floundering was because I was just flapping around. I didn't know focus really. So that's what I've done. I've scrapped it, and now I'm sitting back, and I'm actually, I'm kind of hybrid pantser plotter kind of person. So I'm really plotting this story because it's going to be a lot different than anything I've ever done before. A lot of research involved. Luckily, I have a lot of historian friends who are constantly giving me all these books I must go buy to do all the research. So yeah, as for being home now, it's kind of great for me because I've got my day job that keeps me money in so I can pay my bills and have insurance. But it's been fine for me. I like staying home. I have no problem not seeing people. I prefer my imaginary people to real people. So people, bastards. So no, yeah. I live with my family. I've got my husband. Both of my adult kids are here, and I've got all my cats. That's all I need. So I'm a crazy cat lady. That and wine. Keep the wine going. Because last week we were snowed in. I had a dry weekend, and we had the snow, and I had an entire week of absolutely no alcohol in the house, and that was rough. That was not fun. Wow. That was not fun. I was like, okay, it's a lot of tea drinking this week.
Never run out of alcohol.
That's the number one rule now. Something.
Never run out of alcohol and never run out of caffeine.
Caffeine. Oh my God! Luckily we had coffee and I had teas. And that's what I drink a ton of. Oh, coffee and tea. Just a lot of. But yeah.
You have a question, Nikki?
Yes, it was. Yes, I'm glad somebody caught the IT crowd. Yes, people. What a bunch of bastards. Imaginary people are actually more real than real people.
Yes.
So.
They're not real.
At this point, yes.
They are. They're far more real than real people. Imaginary people.
The ones that are out there, not the ones.
Oh yeah, the people walking about. No, they're just primates with anxiety. That's all they are. So.
It's when the real people. It's when the real people turn into the imaginary people, and you look at what's going on in the world and say, "I've read this book before. I've read it a couple of times in a couple of different genres."
Thank you.
And Heidi also wanted to congratulate you, Sarah, on your new book.
Yes, it's so cool. Oh man, I gotta check that book out. It looks like fun.
Thank you.
The monster one. I wrote it down. I'm a note taker.
Unbound?
Yes, I'm a note taker. My ADHD mind. Yes.
You guys I hope you're gonna love it. I personally love it. My story is probably the only that's pure comedy, and it involves a mummy. It's called Study Night in the Museum.
Oh,
but there are some really amazing. There's some thrillers in here.
I'm gonna check that out so hard. Yeah. I take notes because my ADHD brain has to have something. I have my little putty and I have my note taking. I have to have something to keep everything focused. So,
all right.
Yeah.
How about for Allegra, Jim, Richard? What do you guys think? Where are you guys at? How about for you, Allegra? I mean, you're up there in the basement. Are you right?
No, attic.
Attic. Sorry.
The sky basement. Yeah.
Yeah.
The sky basement.
I had a very interesting experience going into quarantine where I had just spent a year working from home, my first year. So when everyone else was adjusting to living at home and never seeing anyone, I was like, oh, this is old news. My life hasn't changed at all. And so for the first 6 months, it really didn't. My pace didn't change. My motivation didn't change. And I feel like I was there to be support people to all the people who were dealing with isolation and cabin fever. Well, I was just typing away at it, happy, thrilled to be home with all my peeps. But then it hit 6 months after that, and it happened when I moved from writing to editing a big book.
Ooh.
And suddenly my momentum just dropped, and all the things that I'd always used to restart my momentum, which is usually going to the library to write. That was always my okay, I can go here. It feels like going to the office. I can put myself in a little soundproof booth. I can rant about my characters out loud without alarming my husband or my dog. And then I'm writing. And I couldn't do that. And ever since then, it's just been an uphill battle. And I found it very interesting because I used to do about 50% co-written projects and about 50% solo projects. And what's been struggling is my solo projects. But my co-authored projects are just going crazy because we're all so desperate to see each other that when we get on Discord and get on video chat, we're just let's bang out 10,000 words in the next 4 hours. And it's fantastic. And then I try to do that on my own. And I'm well, I've spent 4 hours and I've written 1,000 words, and they're horrible, and I'm going to delete them tomorrow.
Oh, I feel bad for you.
But I found that in the absence of in-person communication, what I have found is a real solace in writing with people online. And it's been really fantastic to develop those connections to people all over the world, kind of experiencing the same lack of motivation, the same just fatigue from the real world. And it's led to some really deep and interesting writing. I wrote a piece about frontline workers in a pandemic in a fantasy world in December, and it was incredibly cathartic and incredibly, meaningful to write it during this period. And that's what I found is it's very hard to write the light, cheerful, funny stuff. And what I want to be writing is serious work, even though I really probably should just take a break from the news cycle and not write the serious work and write the comedy to turn myself off.
I'm relating to you so hard right now, both on the writing humorous stuff, because like I write humor for a living, and I want to write serious stuff because the humor is just not coming, and the writing with people. That's how this anthology came to be. It was just a lot of us like, we need to write together, and we did. And we made a book together.
Yeah, I went from having one co-author to having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 co-authors in the last year.
Nice.
Yep. People can be great.
Yeah,
I'm a monster. I'm a monster. I'm like, nah, people suck. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, for the
You're not
last
alone.
year,
You're not alone.
a little different because and there have been many chunks of my career where I'm used to working remote, so I cannot deal with people except when I need to deal with people. And so, for a long time, I traveled for a living. I was used to being on the road all the time, and then for a number of years, I could go for months and not leave my office in the house. And so, making that transition back this year wasn't difficult, except I'm used to a couple of times a month being in an event, a convention, something like that. So getting that kind of interaction and not getting that. And so last year, I delivered several manuscripts that'll all be coming out this year. But a couple of things happened that, number one, took up a lot of that time. So a lot of my fiction time right now has been going into nonfiction. It's been going into articles. It's been going into ghostwriting for other people. It's been going into that kind of stuff. Number two has been continual because we're now coming up on, we really launched it almost a year ago. We're coming up on a year of having launched it. We've produced, I haven't added it up, but more than 300 hours of programming just under continual, plus the fact we've done, a number of conventions, both live and pre-recorded content. And the amount of stuff we've produced there was huge. And I've edited, I've either recorded, edited, or both a large amount of that production, plus some of the other tech stuff we've been running in the background. I have been, so it's not that productivity has slowed down, but the fiction writing has. Right now, I'm working on a co-writing project that is theoretically going to be a trilogy. We've been working on that for a while, and I've got a couple other projects I'm working on. And one of the big things I've been doing is a lot of outlining and setting up, re-arcing an entire series that kind of got scrapped. But I've done a number of developmental edits over the last year, doing consulting, sitting there going through and helping work through ideas for books. In the last couple of weeks, I've had a number of people that have reached out to me going, "Hey, I'm trying to do this weird tech thing. How does that work?" But the big project I've been trying to work on is the second book in the Business Essentials series, because it was about 3/4 done. And then the changes that the last year have really made in how much of the business works means I'm having to rewrite a large chunk of that book. So it's not that my productivity slowed down, but my fiction productivity has tanked. But it's coming back up finally.
See, you and I were twins up until the point when you said you started outlining stuff, but I know that about you already. So, but yes, I'm with you on so much stuff. I have not slowed down at all productivity wise, but I've been working on a screenplay for about 4 months now, and it's just been treacherous and I just can't do it. It's hard when I'm got
Very
so much
hard.
going on, and again, time monster. That little bastard on my shoulder is just weighing me down, and it's getting crazy. But
yeah, there's a lot of, you spend the time getting something done, ready to process. You turn the processing loose to go on video, then you've got X amount of time to go work on this, then you got to go work on this. And then
I'm sorry.
And then it's midnight. I got to get some fiction words out and done. Yeah.
What's so funny is I committed to a writing group doing sprints. And so I was like, okay, I'm not doing anything. Turned off my phone. Didn't have anything in the background, right? And I was totally ready to just write. I was like, okay, I'm going to write for this hour and a half. They're doing sprints. I'm so excited. I'm going to write. I open up my screenplay software, ready to go. I already had some ideas percolating. And my stupid computer, I didn't turn off the notifications, and it blew up. There was 17 notifications. I'm going,
no.
oh man. I've got to remember, I got to remember, turn off my phone, turn off the notifications, all that stuff, because it's I was so close. I was gonna write.
And you and I both in that same group, and I occasionally do manage to show up. But the problem for my usual day life is so wrapped up into business continuity, DR. So, a lot of my life every day is, hi, what's on fire today?
Yeah. And how can I put it out for you? Because I'm the only one that apparently can. And that's, get
and on top of it, I'm asking him for mutual. And on top of the fire he's dealing with, I'm asking for mutual aid over on my fires at LITCON.
I wasn't speaking about you, Richard. You're okay. Don't worry about it.
That's okay, but wait till he sees what I tag onto the end of the video.
Oh, boy.
How about for you, Richard? You put out a poetry book recently. I know that because I was kind of, sort of, pseudo involved with it. But
yes, you were. You weren't a. Well, I got to tell you, and I'm going to plug that. Even in the beginning, COVID really didn't affect me too much because I have an actual schedule with my work. I'm a seasonal worker, so wintertime is my writing time. So I actually got a pretty good block this time, but with the initial shutdown, I was considered an essential worker in the state of New York. So I went to work just like any day. I mowed lawns all day, every day, Monday through Saturday. So it really did affect me because most of the time in the winter is when I write, because that's when I'm home more. I want to write in the summer. I have great intentions of doing so. The creativity isn't there. For many reasons, and mostly because I'm just exhausted from my full-time job. But there's many days that we have catastrophe work with our machinery, and I don't get home until after dark. By the time I'm home, I don't want to do anything. I want to eat, sleep, period. And that's about what it goes to. So I end up binge watching something until I pass out. And when I'm like that and I'm so overexhausted, I really don't have time, or not that I don't have time, because I have blocks of time in the evenings and stuff that I could, but I don't have the energy to function enough to market my existing books already. So I'm kind of already used to that. And then when we fade into the fall and winter months, that is when I actually write, and that's when I'm already home. I don't leave the house unless it snows or my wife needs me to go to the store or drop the kid off at dance class or something, because right now that's the only thing she's going to. She's on remote learning. And getting on to the article that we read, my favorite part of that article was trying to write a sex scene while the kid's asking for naps on the table. And that's exactly where I'm at. Hard for me to try to create right now because of the simple fact that I'm helping teach my daughter at home because the teachers are not doing it. And on the same token, I've got a lot of other stuff me going on that I haven't been able to really create as much as I would like. I did finish a book of poetry and put it out. It actually released this week. This is the not for sale copies, my proof copies, so that's why you can't really see the title. But it's Speak to My Depression, a sequel to Shattered Glass. And I was honored to ask J.D. Estrada and the host here of Go Now, Joe Compton, to write my foreword. In the beginning, I really didn't know what I expected for the foreword, and I really didn't know where I wanted to go with it or anything. So I kind of just sent them on a mission on their own. And what they came back with was absolutely astonishing. And when I put it in the book, I was working on the poetry, and I was actually doing really well. But then the news and the media got worse, and then COVID got worse, and then this got worse. And after a while, I did get into a rut to create because of that. We're as a medical ET here in New York, I'm always hinging on the media and on what our state level things are doing and what I have to change about my everyday response to the fire department and all of that stuff. So literally, my brain got taken away from being able to be creative, which made the book a lot smaller than expected. I wanted it to be much bigger. I wanted it to be much more. And the last few weeks, I was able to finally get some writing really quick. Finally, my demons had decided to take control on the inside. And that's where I write. That's my home base. That's where I'm at. So when my demons take control and we start having our time and sitting here all alone and nice and quiet and talking amongst each other, and yes, I talk to myself quite frequently, that's when I write the best. That is when some of the best comes out of me. And I wrote probably for about a week solid, and I got to the last one that I put in the book, and I sat there and I said, you know what? I don't have anything to say. I don't have any. It's like the demons finally let go. And I finally said, you know what? It's time. It's time to move on to something else and to publish this, put it out, and let it be what it was. Honestly, the first 10 pages, which is the foreword from J.D. and Joe, actually is probably one of the best parts of the whole book. I won't lie. And it's not just the fact of the writing of it. It's the collaboration that Joe and JD put together and gave me a piece of them to put into the book. Made it really special for me. And it made it special for the whole book. And I think everybody that reads going to enjoy it. After that, I also put out another book, poetry, literally within a week. This one is A Poet's Quest to Find Tranquility. It is a collection of unchanged and unchanged poetry. It's all three of my poetry books all together in one full final collection, because my poetry days are going back burner for quite some time and quite a while. I want to get into the fiction and nonfiction stuff a lot more. And I'm right now I'm in school for my English degree for English and creative writing and fiction concentration for a bachelor's degree. Then I'm taking a minor in nonfiction. So I'm finally, that's where I'm writing. When I'm being creative, it's for a thesis, which I actually have one due today. I end up finding that that's where most of my writing goes right now and has for the past year, is writing my thesis and my papers for school. I got one today coming out on the Cuban Missile Crisis. So can't wait to turn that in. It's the end, and it's my final exam for my U.S. history class, and I move on to the next one. But like you said, the other thing is like Jim said, technical issues happen, and I've been dealing with that world for building what we're going to talk about at the end of the show. And I've spent almost a year building for this, so my time has gotten consumed into working for LITCON.
Well, I just want to say real quickly that I was honored to be asked to do something like that. It was the first time I'd ever done anything like that. And what was really cool was I had a partner, and so JD was instrumental, and we kind of came up with the concept as we were going along. It was kind of cool to work off. So I too know the experience of working with somebody and putting that together. And I have to say, though, really truly, somebody who needs to be acknowledged in this process, other than myself and JD, which we really went at it and worked it together. But I had asked Rebecca Jonesy to take a look at it before we gave it to Richard and go over it and make sure, because both JD and I are grammatically challenged, so grammatically challenged, I should say. See, I even screwed it up just talking.
I was nice. I behaved.
But yeah. So Rebecca, thank you so much for taking the time to do that. She did it out of the kindness of her heart, and she was super excited when she read it because she didn't know a lot of that about us. It's a real personal. JD really especially, his story is very touching. It's a very personal thing that we shared with everybody. So if you get a chance to check it out, that's awesome. I thank you, Richard, for allowing me to do that, and it was pretty cool. It was a good release for me. So I was pretty excited to have some creativity behind it. So
I'm still stunned at the idea of Rebecca Jonesy having a heart.
She has a wonderful big heart, my friend.
I know. I'm just hoping she's listening. I'll get the
that was low.
Karina says that I'm actually using the full 24 hours to get things done. Oh, my friend. I want to hug you so bad. I'm so sorry, Karina. It's still an overflow for the next day. I might sleep after 74 hours, but there's so much to do, and I keep forgetting about the word no. Yeah, that's important.
The word no has become my catchphrase this pandemic. Right. I'm becoming slightly famous for being the writing friend and mentor who's just like, no, don't do it.
Oh, yeah. I've been asked to be part of projects that, one, I didn't have any interest in at all, and two, it just wasn't my thing. And I just said, no, I got other things to do. I want to focus on my things. I love you and thank you for thinking about me, but no, I only have so many spoons and I have to use them for myself. So no.
I've been unwise in that regard. I mean, seriously, I just fill my days with all these other projects because if not, I have to be alone here by myself. And my boundaries are all messed up. I need to stop saying yes to everything.
I do want to bring up something about boundaries, and this would be interesting because we're 3 men, 3 women, and it's something I've always wondered about when it comes especially to creative projects. I'm a wife, mother, all that bit, but the deal is, do you have a hard time finding ways to carve out time for you to create and still take care of what you consider are your responsibilities to your family? 'Cause that's my biggest problem. I will say, okay, I'm going to spend this much time just taking care of the house. And nope, it goes from 7 to 8 o'clock at night. And it's like, now I'm too tired to do anything. And
I'm out of that conversation because I have no responsibilities because I'm divorced and living on my own.
I need to get divorced to live on my own because this is bullshit.
I have work and stuff, but other than that, I
do everything. And I think it's just me. Maybe it's just me. Okay, maybe it's just me. I need to learn to cut that part out of my life.
JD,
there has to be other people.
Stuff. You jumped in here, and I was crushing about you like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, they were crushing on you.
I was.
We love you, JD.
I was talking about you too. Love JD.
I'm sorry. Sorry to derail the conversation, but yeah, that's a really I would love to
Aw.
hear Jim and Richard's perspective on that, because like I said, I mean, obviously I do have lots of responsibilities with GoIndie now and stuff like that, but that's
Right.
a personal choice. That's not something that I have.
You're not scrubbing toilets.
Right.
You're not spending hours laundry,
Well,
scrubbing toilets and things like that.
I do try to keep my place clean as possible. But,
Yeah, but it is just you. It's not for other people in your house.
Absolutely.
So I am married. We don't have kids other than the 4-footed variety that are high maintenance.
They are high maintenance. Yeah. God.
But I mean, I do all the cooking.
I do all the cooking.
So I do all the cooking. Our schedules run a bit unique anyway, because she has her own practice, she has her own business, she does all these different things. There's times our lives intersect.
Yeah.
From a business perspective, and then there's having the idea of a personal life, which is a really novel concept at times. But frequently she'll be on the road or she's still doing some traveling and things like that. Or like this week, she was in Charlotte and Nashville for a couple of days. And right now she's down at the house in Charlotte, and I'm still up in the mountain bunker in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by Christmas tree farms, because that way I don't have to deal with people.
Pretty.
But from a boundary perspective, it's more about looking at setting and allocating the time, because one of the things I'm a firm believer in is everybody needs a creative outlet. So, I mean, everybody on here is trying to also do this as a business, but everybody needs that creative outlet. And if you're not setting aside some of that personal time for a creative outlet, whether it's, I mean, that could be cooking, that could be writing, that could be painting, that could be any number of things. But without that, I think that it really impacts your ability to do everything else.
Humans are creative species. We have to do something. It doesn't mean being artists. I know people who really love bureaucracy. They dig that filing shit. I don't get it, but they love it, and they really get their jollies off on it.
I know people who go running. Why are you running? Go away.
Unless something's chasing me? No, I'm not running.
Let's be clear. If you see me running,
there's something chasing me. You better get in front of me.
I don't
even
even run for things chasing me. I just say, go ahead, take me.
I'm just going to turn around and go, look, somebody hand me a drink while I wait for the thing to get here.
Because
I'm not running.
I'll pass out if I run. It's great.
I mean,
accepting my disabilities was just part of accepting that if a zombie apocalypse happened, I'll just walk towards the zombies. Like, there's just no chance that I'm surviving.
You become queen of the zombies. That's what you do. You become queen of the zombies.
Get in early while there's still plenty of room in the pyramid.
Right.
I'll enjoy fighting through it. That's how I'll get my creativity.
Go down fighting.
That's when you grab the big
just
sharp
give me
objects.
my crossbow.
Oh, we have tons of weapons here, but we're crazy. So yeah, my husband's a Roman reenactor, so we have an entire Spartacus set in my garage. Oh, you should see his stuff. If you see, I posted his stuff on Facebook.
That's fantastic. We have multiple spears by the front door.
Yes. We have so many of all them Roman crap, and so we're always thinking if the zombies do come, we're going to use that stuff because.
Well, I do Scottish heavy athletics, so I'm a heavy athletics judge, and I teach people how to throw heavy objects and heavy people. So
the Scots,
So that's what Scut her up and time to go drink, and then pick a fight,
and then pick a fight and throw heavy things at people. This is athletics. Yeah. I do Pilates. That's my one athletic thing.
Yoga.
Yeah, I do Pilates and yoga. We do a lot of yoga in the Pilates studio I go to. I'm not good at it, but I do it. I am not good at it at all.
I can only imagine
I have
when
to
life.
answer Joe's question.
Oh, Joe had a question?
Yeah, he had a question. Is he like a freaking host or something?
About 15.
Actually,
I want to get on. Right. Well, I want to piggyback off of it and actually elaborate on it a little bit because I'm with her. I'm married and I do have a child, a very needy one. I hope she'll say that. She is 13 and
13. Okay.
She is taller than 13 and she's taller than me. So trust me, I don't live it down. I have a huge problem with breaking up the time and making family time and making my responsibility No, it's not you. It's not just you. And I
And-
think it's almost every one of us as a creative.
Mhm.
And your partner wants time too.
And oh yes, well that's the thing.
Oh.
It's my, you know, my and worst part it is right now in the situation I'm in with my office being shown for the winter because it was too cold to keep heating it, and as you can see, some construction behind me. I am stuck in the kitchen, so literally my wife is on the couch 12 feet from me. I'm sitting in the kitchen, so I can look over and see her. She can look over and see me, but I'm so wrapped up in what's going on, especially over this month with the things that I've been doing for the past month. I've been so busy, like I can't even get away from another catastrophe, another problem, another tech issue, another book question, another author question for me to walk across the 12th and say, okay, hon, it's your turn. To the point where I was so over yesterday, I said, look, babe, I absolutely need help. I cannot do this on my own. My wife sat down and learned how to work WordPress in a matter of 5 minutes. And I literally had her help me load over 165 books onto the LITCON website in a matter of 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God she helped me because I would not have had it done on
WordPress
time.
is a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Well, also with a partner in the same thing, sometimes I'm with Brian. He'll know that I'm not there. I'm here physically, but mentally I'm over here. I'm thinking about the book or the story or whatever. And he'll say, I can see your eyes have basically flanked over and I'm somewhere else. And it's hard. And this might kind of piggyback on the idea of writer's block, but it's really hard. My husband wants to do like a panel on the other side of the desk where it's basically the creatives and their people, their partners.
We've actually done that before.
Really?
Partners,
because it's so hard for partners. I know, because Brian's like, he's not he doesn't write, so he doesn't even read that much. He doesn't even read my own stuff, so we don't really have a thing. So he doesn't really get it, how hard it is. And when I'm working, he can't come in here and tell me, hey, I'm making some bread and cheese and wine. I'm working, okay? Now I have to get back. You don't understand how hard this is. So they get upset. They get really upset. And you really worry that you're going to be hurting that relationship. But you married this.
I'm pretty lucky. I have a husband who likes to spend a lot of time alone. And so we kind of made a deal at the beginning of the pandemic that we wouldn't see each other more than we would have seen each other if we regularly went to work.
Well, my husband was a Marine for 20-something years. Our relationship was pretty much him home and them gone for a couple of years. And I got used to that. I love it. Go away.
Yeah.
But now...
My wife, one of the time I was on the road, and she was like,
don't you have somewhere to go?
You're going to be here all the time now?
Jeez. But now because he's retired, he wants to almost make up for those 20-something years. And I'm just like, why? Well, it's fine.
I'm divorced, so that should tell you everything you need to know about spending time with somebody. But
a lot of writers writers have a very high divorce rate, and I think it's because we're just, hard to live with.
Yeah. We live in our own little worlds. The people we invent become more important than the people around us sometimes. But I think there is, I think just being communicative. I am openly poly, so I have multiple partners. And the thing that I've learned over all of that is that what's most important is to set expectations realistically.
Okay.
And so if I tell my husband, I have a deadline, you're not going to see me until this date.
I tell my family I'm going dark. I'm going dark for a while, and you're not going to see me.
I'm not going to be a human. I am going to be.
I will not be.
My best.
Yeah, I'll be a writer. I won't be a human because my husband. I've talked about this. I'm not the woman he married 30-something years ago, but also I'm not the woman 10 years ago. I am a much different person. I'm a menopausal bitch right now, and I don't put up with a lot of crap. I've really gotten mean. Just these past 3 years, I've really gotten mean. And I think it's just because I don't have it in me anymore. I'm tired. I'm 55 years old. I ain't got time for this crap anymore.
Well, in the ultimate of segues.
Yes, let's go on to something else.
I don't think we could ever get tired of the Indie Connection. And this week,
we
have an incredible one for you because it is you know, almost kind of, well, it's not related to writer's block, but it's kind of related to the world we live in, because CL Can's about to show you some indie books in this brave new
Cool.
world.
Hey guys, CL Cannon here from Fiction Atlas Press, bringing you another Indie Connection. Today I'm going to be telling you about some indie books that you might enjoy if you're a fan of Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. The first book I have for you is called Our Dried Voices by Greg Hickey. In 2153, cancer was cured. In 2189, AIDS. And in 2235, the last members of the human race traveled to a distant planet to begin the next chapter of humanity. Several hundred years after their arrival, the remainder of humanity lives in a utopian colony in which every want is satisfied automatically, and there is no need for human labor, struggle, or thought. But when the machines that regulate the colony begin to malfunction, the colonists are faced with a test for the first time in their existence. With the lives of the colonists at stake, it is left to a bright young man named Samuel to repair these breakdowns and save the colony. Aided by his determined friend Penny, Samuel rises to meet each challenge. But he soon discovers a mysterious group of people behind each of these problems, and he must somehow find and defeat these saboteurs in order to rescue humanity. The second book I have for you is called Busy Skies, The Council Dissolution by Ivan Savgor. In a not-so-distant future, humans have developed an incredible civilization. This came with the price of several economic meltdowns, many wars, and even genetic modifications. However, now a peaceful race slowly start colonizing near-Earth planets, moons, and space stations. Jess Winson is a chemist who is invited to the Antarctic Research Facility to work on the Rock, an interesting asteroid that has been discovered and suspected to hold a key to silicon-based life. She will quickly learn that the image of the perfect civilization is very fragile. She will embark on an adventure of her life that will shake the very foundations of today's society to its very core. The third book I have for you is called Athena's Choice by Adam Boostrom. What if a viral pandemic put women in charge of the planet? Athena Vosh lives just like any other teenager from the year 2099. She watches reality shows with her friends, eats well, and occasionally wonders to herself, what would life be like if men were still alive? It has been almost 50 years since an experimental virus accidentally killed all the men on Earth. However, a controversial project is currently underway to bring men back. There's just one catch. The project has been sabotaged. So begins Athena's Choice. When the police of 2099 are tasked with finding the saboteur, they receive a mysterious command to investigate the otherwise innocuous Athena Vosh. After it becomes clear that the young girl might know more than she lets on, Athena is brought in to participate in the official investigation. Simultaneously, the girl begins to experience a series of cryptic dreams, featuring a ruined library and an old book containing the saboteur's true identity. As the police close in on their prize, Athena finds herself on a journey of her own. Her clue-filled dreams and incorruptible spirit brings her face to face with a pair of forgotten truths about happiness and gender. The world waits to see if men will return, as Athena fights a separate battle, culminating in the choice that will define her and others' lives forever. And the last book I have for you is called Sophia and the Utopian Machine by Judith Hong. Sophia is an ordinary schoolgirl living in future Singapore, where the population is divided into 3 social strata. When she inadvertently unlocks the gateway to a new world, she realizes she must escape the government's radar. She ventures into the lowest rung of society, the Voids, and meets with the eccentric Uncle Kirk and the resourceful Father Lang. While on the run, she learns why her father disappeared 7 years ago, and why the new world exists in the first place. Okay, that's all for me this week. I'll see you next week on the Indie Connection. Bye!
As As always, thank you to CL Cannon for wonderful recommendations and books. The chat was blowing up while you all were talking, and so I wanted to share a few of these things before we take off. And that's so. Jim,
That's good.
I love you, Rebecca. I'm sorry.
Oh,
JD Estrada says he was a smidge late because he was organizing his office. And then Katie says that she had to shift her priorities a few years ago to achieve better balance after hitting a major burnout. Yeah, that happens. Yeah. Yes, it doesn't take long to scrub the bathroom.
Oh, it can. I have 2 men, and trust me, those people piss everywhere.
All right, I won't touch that.
On the walls. How do you guys get it on the walls, people? Aim that stuff. I don't understand. How hard can it be?
Well, that depends. I'm not.
Is it prehensile? What do you guys got on down there?
can I take it out of PG? I can take
That's
this
right.
out of PG and I can explain it.
Actually, I do know. I've been told, and they've explained to me why. So, yeah.
That's why we go outside.
Y'all guys are nasty. So, no. Athena's choice. Let's bring it back, yeah. So, nasty.
Then Allegra, Heidi says that she has a plan for the zombie apocalypse that involves being protected and killing them from above.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
And that she's with you. If she's stuck on the ground, I'm taking out as many as I can. Well, I guess she's with me. Because there's no way of outrunning them, just a fact.
Yep.
Just trip the people and let them,
Nikki sweeps the
I don't have
leg.
to be- I don't have to be fast. I just have to be faster than you.
Exactly.
Jackson Paula. God.
On the toilet.
Cat of worms. Oh my gosh.
That's what she said.
Anyway, we're up against it, everybody.
Okay, cool.
I'm sorry about that. I would let everybody talk forever. And we have a great crowd here, so we'll continue this conversation at some other point, I'm sure. But
I'm not going anywhere. Go ahead.
I think we're all in that same boat right now, so that's pretty good. So yes, it's awesome. But I wanted to give this time up to Richard and Jim.
Yes.
To talk about what they're doing next weekend, and for anybody who doesn't know about it, to get an idea of what is going on. So I don't know, Richard, do you want to just start and get us going on that, or do you want Jim to go first? What do you want to do? It's up to you.
I'll talk first because I'm sure he's got some finite ideas how to blow this up out of proportion. Anyways, I am, I guess, what you would call the CEO. I don't know. It's a weird title to have of LITCON. And LITCON 2021, it launches through the 7th. And it is a virtual literature convention for authors, readers, editors, publishers, graphic artists, anything to do with the writing world. You are welcome to come. Anything likes to read books, this is the place to be. Come and join us. We love having many of you as we can. Currently, Con has about 150 authors signed up, roughly. We have about 170 books on the website, and I have about 50 more to load. It's going to be about 200 books in our bookstore, so be sure to get over there. And yes, and you know what? That was my wife's line, JD. When her and I come up with the name, she said, change the name to LITCON because it's going to be lit. It's going to definitely be lit. We have sorts of different genres. Big ones are the sci-fi and fantasy panels. We have all sorts of different really cool stuff happening over in science fiction with they're talking about some aliens, how to write a better alien, and some different ones. I'd have to go on the store to actually look them all up. We're doing blog hops. Hopefully we're doing blog hops. We're having a little issue, but we won't go into that. It's too much of an explanation. But we have a lot of other stuff going on with a lot of large free panels, and we have some workshop webinar style workshops that you can join in, where you can get some advice from some professionals. Myself personally, I am hosting a couple of workshops, how to build your brand and build your author platform. And also alongside of that, I have a free webinar going on about building your author website. It's one of the things that I do is help authors build their author websites, and I build for them, and I also teach authors that want to take my course on how to build that author website using WordPress. But we also have some really, really good big workshops based on e-newsletter and how to utilize a newsletter, how to get one started, and how to get signups in there, because as we can tell, social media can be banned and all of that good, happy stuff. But if you have that email list is your gold, and you can do that. So you can take Heidi's e-newsletter course. And then, of course, with our lovely Jim joining us, and I'll let him talk about all the stuff that he does. But based on his book, Business Essentials for Writers, he is offering 4 major courses based on digital and social media marketing for authors, business writing essentials, different tools you can put in a toolbox that will help you become not only a better writer, but a better salesman on selling your writing, which leads into another workshop he's giving based on sales, and also another one impacting your intellectual property rights. So if you if you haven't already signed up for LitCon, you've got one day, because it ends tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, tomorrow during the day, at some point in time, we're going to stop all signups March 1st. So if you haven't gotten over there and signed up, and if you haven't signed up for a full booth and do the whole thing, and you just want to take one of the workshops, we will accept that. Purchase the workshop you want to take, and we'll get an email out to you on where to meet us and what's going to happen. It's all virtual, all online. You will find us on LitCon on Facebook, the official LitCon on Twitter, the official LitCon on Instagram, and we're going all over the place doing different stuff. We have a Discord channel where we can all hang and beef it up. We're going to get into some other things with LitCon Lounge, and I'll talk about in a second. But we also have places where all of our stuff and content will be going live via Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So be sure to get over to our YouTube channel and give that a like or a subscribe so you get the notification we're going live, because we have 3 full back days this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, March 5th, 6th, and 7th, where it's all literature convention, all LitCon. And you're going to want a part of it, because it's, I think, going to be the virtual writers event of I really do believe that, because of how many people we've got signed up. We've got a guest coming on behind the pen, hosted by Karina Cantus. He was actually in the original Star Wars show. We've got some really cool people on there. Oh yeah, Star Trek. Sorry. Yeah, see, I'm getting there already. It is afternoon already here, right? And if anyone wants to, we also have LitCon Lounge, which we have not really announced much and talked about this year. But LitCon Lounge is our hangout for all LitCon authors. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to do anything. Just click on the link or ask us for the link to join in, and it'll be all weekend long, and it will be hosted by myself, and hopefully, if I can convince him, because I haven't even talked to him about it yet, we've been so busy, but hopefully our lovely Joe Compton from Go Indie Now will help host our LitCon Lounge and be the special guest host for that, and allow everybody to just kind of go off the rails a little bit while we discuss LitCon. And I'm going to turn the rest over to Jim because he's something up his sleeve. I know he does.
Well, I don't know what's left. I mean, no, I want to thank Rich for asking me to help support and be part of LitCon. So there are a lot of great, as you heard, a lot of great panels going on. We're going to be co-broadcasting a lot of those through Continual as well. And then, of course, the workshops. And the workshops, the four I'm teaching are, as he said, the Business Essentials, which is just a really business fundamentals. I'm teaching one that is on the fundamentals of sales and marketing for writers and small publishers. Then I'm doing one that is the digital marketing, sales and marketing fundamentals. And then doing the IP workshop, which are all ones that I usually teach at conventions, things like this. We are going to be recording those. And so anybody who is in the workshops with the recording is also going to then get perpetual access to those through AE workshops, because we're going to be cutting those and turning those into some of the next round of video workshops we're going to have on AE. So, anybody who does sign up for those is going to be getting a really fun deal with that. There's a lot of workshops around book covers. There's a lot of workshops, like you hear, everything around the business and the industry is pretty well rounded out and covered by somebody in the workshops. And, then both for readers and writers, there's a lot of fun panels to come in, get some inspiration, find out who does what, because, even as you've heard today, every writer does their own thing. We all do our own thing and we do it differently. And I think this is the main thing we always look to reinforce. There's no one way to do it. The only one way to do things is your own way and the one that works for you. And so, much like you hear Go Indie, and it's finding those things that work for you, find the ideas from the other writers, the other contributors. And I think LitCon Lounge is always a great thing to come and do, because you get to hang out, network, meet other writers. Because at the end of the day, being a writer is the only full contact sport that we can do individually. And we're here, and as a community, we as writers can either work together, partner together, and make everybody better, because it's not really a competitive sport. So that's a really rambling way of saying, come and hang out at LitCon.
Just to give everybody some more incentive, I'm been partnering with Phoebe Darkling, doing the screenwriting thing. She's actually running the whole thing. I'm just piggybacking on her beautiful setups and everything like that. If you wanted to learn more about screenwriting, especially, I would highly recommend on Sunday. We will be doing, and I know it's really early in the morning, but 9 a.m. Eastern, we'll be doing a screenwriting Q&A, myself and her, talking about our experiences. So if you've ever had any question about wanting to be a screenwriter or be part of the movie industry, or there is of course a panel about adapting your novel into a TV or film also. But if you ever had any specific questions, I will be there to answer those. So if you wanted to hang out with me during that time, I know again it's early in the morning, but we'll be doing that. So, and then there's a couple other panels that I'm involved with on that end as well. So I'm really honored that Phoebe asked me to help to be a part of that. So go check that out as well. Like Jim said, there's all kinds of stuff and interesting things going on for every aspect of everything that is writing, and and the business of writing and all of that wonderful stuff. So everybody go.
As well as
because you
a
only
well-known actor from Star Trek, as well as, I'm going to give away a hint, he might have also been on B5.
All right. Awesome.
You'll
Right, so
never let me live that.
No, I'm never letting you get away with that one.
All right. That being said, I want to give our non-LitCon friends an opportunity to say goodbye and talk a little bit about themselves and tell everybody where they can find you. And I'm going to throw a little wrinkle at all of you right now.
Ooh.
We don't have to do it in rhyme, do we?
Give one tip.
To sing.
Oh,
I
no.
got very good at that for a recent book. I had a character you could only speak to in rhyme.
Oh God.
I'm not going to ask
think I
you
like
to
you.
do any weird things. I'm just going to ask you for give me one tip that you have for writer's block. All right. So I'm not going to put anybody on the spot. So who wants to start? Who wants to say goodbye first?
I have my tip ready. I have the same one that I always have.
Go for it.
My number one tip for writer's block is if you get blocked, start deleting anything you've written before the block. Keep deleting until you want to write again.
Awesome. So tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me mostly on Amazon if you're looking for my books. My first audiobook of Where Shadows Lie should be hitting Audible any day, but is available wide if you want to find it. I am also on YouTube as Plot Mom and run the Plot Mom Discord server. We have a ton of fun, and tomorrow we are launching Edit Palooza, which helps new writers go through every single stage of the editing process on a 20,000 word chunk to teach them the whole method and working with other people and beta readers and all that jazz. So if you like sprints and all that fun stuff, come join us.
That's awesome. That's really fantastic. Okay. Everybody go check that out.
Yeah. I have one. I go next. Okay, so the one thing I always tell people about writer's block is this. Whenever a story gets from me blocked, it's because somewhere in the story, the spine is broken. So you have to go back, find out where it's broken, and fix it. And usually it just releases a flood. It's like breaking a dam. For me, that's what works for me. If a story isn't working, it's because somewhere in that spine, it's broken. So you got to go back and fix it. So you can find my stuff on Amazon, of course, like everybody in the world. Everything else on Amazon. I have a website that will be up soon. It's right now in production phase. It's going to be called nNHbooks.com. I can be found on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, all that under the name of Nick Cubed, NIKCUBED. And that's about it, really.
I know I keep bugging you about this, but when is that podcast coming out?
I don't know, man. Let me tell you something. I have been trying so hard, and I'm really this close to just cutting off from him because I'm tired of waiting for his ass. I mean, I do my stuff. I get all my stuff done, and then it's him going, choose your co-hosts well. Because I have other co-hosts that are biting at the bit who want to take over his spot. So I might just have to, because I really want to do this. It sounds like so much fun. I'm having a great time on my end. He's just not pulling his thumb out of his butt and just getting to work.
Remind everybody what you're talking about.
It's a podcast my husband and I are going to start called Nick and Brian Drink a Thing. And the whole point of it is we open up a bottle of wine or some sort of drink, we drink, and then one of us, we talk about the drink, whatever it is, and we critique it. It's bad or it's good, blah, blah. But the big chunk of the podcast is going to be one of us talking about something that we've researched. Like, for instance, my husband's goal, his main thing is history, military history. Me, mine's everything else, murders, the occult, weird shit. That's me. I do all the other things. So, and I've been researching and doing that. So I have all these, the last show that we did was about the Lawson murders, 1929 Lawson murders. Fascinating subject. A whole guy kills his entire family on Christmas Day. And what was interesting about it is the absolute weird tourist attraction it became, this house. The cake the girl made before she was brutally murdered, they kept it under a glass dome and sewed off pieces. That's just sick. But I find it fascinating. So that's the podcast I want to try to get off the ground, is just another one of those annoying, true crime, weird shit podcasts.
If that's not a great tease for a great podcast, I don't know what is.
Oh, it's a fascinating story.
Well, if you need somebody to come drink and talk weird shit, just let me know.
I'll let you know. Trust me. I love just drinking and talking weird shit. That's basically what I do.
It's pretty much all I do these days.
That's my Tinder account. Drink and talk weird shit.
All right, Sarah, you ready?
I guess so. I guess I'm the last one.
No, you still got, yeah.
My tip is mainly to do this exercise, which I really love to do, which is to go with the most unexpected thing. What would definitely not happen right now, and just write that, or just write from the POV of a character that, like, either an arising character that's just there for 5 seconds, and just write out his point of view in his life, and eventually something will unlock. And at the very least, you're going to have fun doing it, and you're not going to lose the momentum of writing. And it's pretty enjoyable, and sometimes they can be fun goodies for your readers because, I mean, sometimes the butler from a random scene can actually have a very rich internal life and have a bit of an obsession with an obscure drink from your universe, which could actually inspire you to write something else. Anyway, so that's my tip. It's not as classy, and the other tips were great. I love those, which is why I'm like, which one can I say? All right.
This is great.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was great. I'm going to use that, actually. Once a guy asked me about something, I said, well, have a guy come in and just shoot somebody.
That's an unexpected
My
thing.
solution is usually blow some shit up.
Blow shit
I
up.
love that too. I love that.
Yes.
Blow
But-
shit up.
And then running it back in time and fixing
Or have
it.
somebody betray someone. That's a great one, too, if you're just messing around. Yeah.
My
Yeah.
personal favorite, though, and I'm going to quote the grand Chelsea Quinn Yarborough. When I get writer's block, I look at the stack of unpaid bills and remind my ass to get back to work.
Tell everybody where they can find you, Sarah.
Okay, so you can find me on my website, SAAndersonauthor.com. I'm also very, very active on Bookstagram. That's Instagram for Bookaholics. So you can find me as Recommendations but read. And due to popular demand, I am going to be bringing back self-published Saturdays and start putting more of a focus on the indie authors in my life because they're awesome and I want to get their books into people's hands, and it's kind of taking off. So that's going to be starting the next few days. You're going to start seeing more and more of these wonderful self-published or indie published books that are going to start popping up, and I'm really, really stoked to share them with you.
Awesome. We're stoked to be able to find them. That's awesome. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you for being here. That was fantastic. You were fantastic. So
Thanks for having me. I hope I can come back sometime if you like
of course. Yeah,
Yay.
I would love that.
They bring me back, so yeah, come on.
Joe keeps letting me in the bar, so
Yeah, me too.
This is the only
Speaking
bar
of
where you
which-
can't have anything to drink.
Oh,
Speaking of which, Mr. Nettles, you want to tell everybody where they can find you? And I know you just shared a little bit of a tidbit of a tip, but if you have another one, that's fine.
Yeah, you can find. Well, let's go with the tidbit. I mean, mine is I've always got multiple projects working at a time, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's keep writing. When you hit that writer's block, especially if you're pantsing and you're doing linear writing, jump a scene and go to the next thing you've got in your head because it'll pull you along. I do tend to work from some degree of an outline. I'm not a heavy plotter, but I do tend to have some sort of outline. So I've got something downstream I can always be working on, and that working on that could often go, oh, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to seed 3 steps back. So, but you can't fix the blank page. Just keep going, even if it's crap.
even if it's crap.
Even if it's crap.
Yep.
Especially if it's crap.
Oh, you
you
can
can-
fix crap.
You
Yeah.
can fix crap. You can't fix the blank page.
Exactly.
And of course, you can find me at jamespnettles.com, authoressentials.net, authoressentialsworkshops.com should be back up this week, continualconvention.com, and of course, litcon.org.
Nice.
And
Awesome.
I feel sure I missed something in there somewhere, but
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I've got everybody's links up as I do always, and I have the link to The Mimic if you wanted to go see the movie that I reviewed earlier, way back when at the beginning of this show, and all of course, the C.L. Cannon books that she recommended for the Indie Connection. Go check those out as well, and please, do check out these folks and what they're doing and how they're doing it. It's fantastic stuff. I'm so humbled and honored that they are here. And I think JD sums it up, LOL, your chisel. I agree wholeheartedly. My one tip would be to go people watch, observe what you're doing, go
at
out.
a social distance.
Take a, at a social, yes,
Social
with
distance.
a mask and at social distancing at this point. But there are people out there, believe it or not, out of your little space here. Get out of it. Go for a walk. Go move. Motion, creates momentum and all of those great things. And you have everybody pretty much has a smartphone. Dictate to your phone, and I don't care if people think I'm crazy when I'm talking to myself. I'll walk around and just talk on my phone. I don't care. But you do that, or you take a notebook and you sit on a park bench and you look at and observe things and just note things that you would see. You'd be surprised what sparks. That's my tip. I am Joe Compton. I have a couple books out. I have, if you are here, you know about Go Indie Now. If you don't, if this is your first time here, well, welcome. Check us out. We've got great programming all week long. We do programs. And like I mentioned, our spring seasons have begun. So we've been putting out stuff. We put out stuff every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You'll get a brand new episode from a show that we produce, and some live content as well. Myself and Katie Salitis will be back next Friday, which we do every month. At the beginning of the month, we do our news program. So Go Indie Now, Late Night News with Go Indie Now. We'll be back next Friday. We've got some great stuff about AudibleGate and some other things that are important to the authoring world and to the indie community at large. We talk about everything there, and so check that out. That goes on at 10 p.m. Eastern on I believe that's March 5th, if I'm not mistaken, on next Friday. So come and hang out with us there, because you know why? It's always time to go indie now. And with that, we say goodbye. Good luck.
Bye.
Get yourself writing again and get yourself creating again. We would love to see what you have, and then come on the show and talk about it. All right.